App State will have its shot at Wake Forest. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. I apologize. I came down with something last night, so if I cough a little bit, I do apologize. I do have my drink, just in case. All right. We'll go over App and Wake. We had a big night for the Bobcats. They scored 14 runs in 2 innings last night, and the Cajuns bats are coming around. We'll recap all of the Sunbelt baseball that happened last night. But basketball-wise, App State has its shot at Wake Forest. So this is absolutely a hashtag, always a bright side. App State knew they weren't going to the NCAAs, although based on last night's performance by Virginia, they could have done better than that against Colorado State. But it was known, basically, heading into the Sun Belt Conference tournament that, the winner was going to go to the NCAAs and the loser was going to go to the NIT. Part of what makes the NIT special is usually they try to get teams. I'm not sure how well they're seeded per se. I don't think that really matters, but they try to get they try to put it in a place where it'll draw, LSU notwithstanding, and Baton Rouge notwithstanding, and maybe an opportunity for, a group of 5 to take down a Power 5, and that's what we have tonight. We have App State taking on Wake, and this line has already gone down 4 points. A little bit surprising. It's gone down from 10.5 to 6.5. It was close to, I think when I saw it, I didn't take it down, plus 390, almost a 4-1 money line bet. Now I think it's down to, let me check out FanDuel. Now I think I'm not even sure if it's 2-1 anymore. I had it right here. It is 2-1. It's Wake Forest is minus 285 favorite, but App State is a plus 230. So meaning, just make sure we understand, if you take Wake Forest on the money line, you have to bet 285 to 100. If you take App State on the money line, you bet 100, you win 230. Now, before, when this line came out late Sunday night, maybe Monday morning, it was plus 390. I don't know what Wake was, but it was like plus 390 for App State. Now that line has changed dramatically. Okay. The NIT, make sure we understand this. Also, Virginia notwithstanding, because it's not like Virginia wasn't trying last night. They just weren't very good. This is all about the wand. I did not watch the LSU ball game, but from what I saw, score-wise, they were trailing for most of the ball game. Put up a little bit of a fight. At the end, they went down to North Texas. The NIT is all about the wand. We saw a lot of teams that did not want. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not happy that my Syracuse Orange decided not to play. I don't understand that. They did have a couple of guys go in the transfer portal. One, unfortunately, went in there. We'll see if he comes back. But if you have a chance to play basketball, and it's not just for the big-time guys who may go pro or whatever, maybe the guys who don't get a chance to play get to play. And if you get your head beat in, I don't care. Go get a chance to play another college basketball game. I think it is very, you know what the word is? It's cowardly. I've done talk show radio, sports talk radio for 10 years or so. And with this podcast for a year and a half, the only time that I suggested that a coach should be fired was Johnny Jones. He's done a good job at Texas Southern, but the LSU got crushed in the SEC tournament. And this was the Ben Simmons year, and there were some injuries and some illness, so they were going to be shorthanded. And Ben Simmons wasn't going to play in the NIT, but that's when Johnny Jones turned down the NIT. So Johnny Jones decided it was okay for him and his team to quit. And when you do that, when you allow that to get into the program, that's not good. That's the only time I suggested that Johnny Jones, that a coach should be fired. And he wasn't fired that year. He was fired after the next miserable season, and we know what happened after that. So now we went through Wade, and we are where we are right now. Anyways, getting back to App State and Wake. Wake is tough at home. Wake's lost one game at home. It happened to be their second to last home game. They lost to Georgia Tech by all of 1 point, 70-69. So they are a very good home team. But it's going to be all about the want. I'm not sure Wake thought they were getting in. I didn't hear they are number one seed in the NIT, but all the teams that I heard that were not happy about getting in were Seton Hall, St. John's, Pitt, Oklahoma. I thought one more. St. John's, maybe. And so we really didn't hear that Wake should have gotten into the NCAA. That doesn't change the fact that they may not want to play in this tournament, but we'll see if App State does. App State's got to have the want as well. And this is where playing that in-state Power 5 team gives App State all the want they should need. This is the chance to prove that, yeah, we deserve some respect. Now, Wake went out. They won a game in the ACC tournament, so it's been a minute since they played, about a week. Same thing for App State, right? They played. They lost on Sunday. They lost to Arkansas State on Sunday, so it's been a week and a half for them. This is just a big opportunity for App State. I'm going to take App State. Not sure I was going to bet as much as I am now. 4 points is a huge turnaround. 10.5 to 6.5. I don't know if anybody's not playing for Wake, but this is all about the want. Do they want to be there? And this is a great chance for App State to prove that they want to be there, that the Sun Belt belongs, that, with a little scheduling tweak, that the Sun Belt can become a 2-bid league. All right. Do we not think that App State could have stayed on the court with Virginia last night? Yeah, they could have. Colorado State's pretty good. The Mountain West is pretty good, but they could have stayed on the court with Virginia. Virginia wasn't, I'm not sure Colorado State was doing anything great defensively. Virginia was missing wide open in the lane jumpers. They weren't being well defended in some of those spots. They were missing they were airballing corner threes. These things were wide open and they were missing. And I think App State could have hung with either Colorado State or Virginia last night. So we'll see what App State and Dustin Kearns, and again, it's about the want, all right? It's not where they wanted to be. It was a disappointing ending to the season. I get it. They've had a lot of time to get over that. You can still, it may not ring as true as they'd like it to be, but they have a shot to win some ball games. And heck, if they win, first of all, they get to go play in the Butler Fieldhouse, right, where the Hoosiers took place. So you could go do that. That's something to look forward to. And, you get on a run, and all of a sudden, maybe you win your last game. And it's not as disappointing a season. You go in there and lay an egg against Wake Forest, that's going to tell us all about the want, all right? And unfortunately, for Dustin Kearns, it's going to be on him. That's where that comes from. This NCAA is about, the NIT, I should say, is about getting you guys ready to play in the NIT. It's much more than that it's much more of that in the NIT than the NCAA. I'm going back and forth about Wisconsin and JMU, and Wisconsin's going to be all fired up because everyone's picking JMU. Like, why do you need to be any more fired up? You're playing in the NCAA tournament. You're in a 12-5 game. You can't be any more fired up than being in that. No. And so this is about getting them fired up. Absolutely. Because you can see a lot of teams sleepwalk through an NIT game. Maybe LSU came on a little bit late at the end against North Texas, still lost, but I'm not sure they were in the want. We'll see if the App State is in the want, because I think they will be. And then more importantly to them, see if Wake Forest is in the want. If Wake Forest is not in the want, if Wake Forest doesn't want to be there, you'll find out that pretty quickly. We'll see what kind of crowd there is. It's obviously going to be the same colors, a little black and gold going on. But I happen to think that if App State can get their fans there, and they can make quick work, because if App State gets ahead and Wake Forest doesn't want, Wake Forest could be the team that's embarrassed. No one wants to see that. Not in Wake Forest. So it'll be really interesting to see how this all works out. All right, let's take a time out. When we come back, we'll get to Sunbelt baseball. The two games that I was following last night, I thought the Cajuns game was off the charts, but it was nothing like what was going on in San Marcos with the Bobcats and UTSA. Let me tell you about Bettor Together. See if we got this here. All right. Tired of the same old daily fantasy grind where you make a roster, cross your fingers, and hope for the best, or losing on the last leg of your pick'em entry? Introducing Bettor Together, the first cooperative daily fantasy platform where teamwork triumphs talent and you can play with your friends, not against them. Pick more or less on real-time player stats, strategize with your partner to boost your odds, and climb the leaderboard together. So grab a friend and join the social DFS movement. Download Bettor Together now from the App Store and sign up using promo code LOCKEDON for a chance to win your share of over $1,000 in cash prizes. Remember the code LOCKEDON because winning alone is fun, but it's better together. Get it? Also by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easier to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit. Available only to U.S. customers. Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team. Every day went to the Cajuns and Southern ball game last night and was kind of watching the Twitter feed and Texas State and UTSA because Slam Marcus is a great name for the town. So these midweek ball games, for Power 5 teams, I mean for everybody, they are to get other people in the lineup. You can rest your catcher, you can see some guys out of the bullpen, right? The problem is, I don't know about for Texas State, and I don't think UTSA is in this situation. But for the Cajuns, they just don't have that, to me, they just don't have that great of a schedule. And it really comes into play in the midweek games, where if you lose one, it's bad, right? Winning isn't great either, necessarily. But if you lose one, it's really bad. And the Cajuns are not in a position to do that. They cannot lose some of these midweek ball games. Yeah, these midweek ball games, like for a Power 5 team, like for an LSU. All right, so LSU has always had issues with these Power 5 midweek ball games, and they don't matter because they play in the SEC, right? The whole conference is basically ranked, and it doesn't matter if you drop a game to a Grambling or a Southern or a Tulane or the Cajuns. It doesn't matter in their RPI. They're going to, it will not matter in LSU's cases. In the G5, in the Sun Belt, and certainly in the Cajuns' case, it will matter. Okay. Having said that, you still need to get some guys some work. So last night in San Marcos, Texas State was down 4-0 before they blinked. They did not get off to the best of all starts. Their starting pitcher, Graham, 1/3 of an inning, 2 hits, 2 walks, all 4 base runners scored. I'm not sure that was the game plan. They did have 1 on and 1 out. And then it kind of fell apart. However, it was only 4-0. Having said all that, it was only 4-0. And then Texas State's bats came in because, again, just like Texas State or the Cajuns or the Southern, whoever the case may be, you got to get some midweek guys, some innings. And Texas State's bats took over. And they scored 9 runs. Let me see how many did they get before there was an out. Single, walk, single. So the UTSA pitcher didn't get an out and only faced 3 guys. All right. They did not get an out until the 7th batter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 7th batter. So 6 runs had come home. Dalen Pena hits a grand slam. That made it 6-0. Yes, that made it 6-0. Do that math. Okay. They scored 9 runs in the inning. The inning wasn't over. They scored 9 runs in the inning to take a 9-4 lead. Well, UTSA comes back and makes it a 9-8 ball game. They score 4 runs in the 2nd inning. So I got to believe, because it felt like the 7th inning at the Cajuns game took an hour. The first, 9 outs had to take an hour and a half. Right? They scored 4 runs. UTSA did. Then the Bobcats scored 9, and then UTSA scored 8. Well, Dalen Pena wasn't done yet. Again, it was a 9-8 ball game, and he does it again. He hits another grand slam in the 3rd inning. So he had a great line. 2 hits, 2 for 4, 8 runs batted in. 8 runs batted in a week is pretty good. 8 runs batted in a game is obviously outstanding. And so he had himself a night. And then Texas State had to hang on. UTSA scores a run in the 4th. They get 2 in the 8th. And they scored 2 in the 9th. And it got a little bit hairy there. All right. It was 14-13 in the 9th inning. Diaz for UTSA with a 2-run home run. That makes it a 1-run ball game. Then Odom hit by a pitch, goes to second on a throwing error on a failed pickoff attempt, and then Rodriguez walked. So not only is the tying run on base, the go-ahead run is on base. Wofford comes in, though, gets a fly out and a fielder's choice as UTSA hangs on 14-13. Do we have a time of that game? Because it was a very odd game because, again, Texas State scored in a total of 2 innings. Let me see if we got a time of game here. I got the stats in the box score here. I don't see a time. Let me see if I got a time of game. Time of game 3:44. So yeah, that took a minute. All right, other scores in the Sun Belt. I'm not sure why the Sun Belt doesn't have a connection with Arkansas State. We don't get their scores. All right, so let's see here. Maryland takes down JMU 9-5. App State in a run rule beats Queens 15-5. Georgia State coming off a sweep of South Alabama. They lose to Georgia Tech, 6-4. And South Alabama in a annual game with Auburn, loses 2-1. All of a sudden, South Alabama has lost 4 straight. All right, let's take a timeout. We'll come back. Cajuns bats continue to come around. They had some good pitching and some not so good pitching. We will do that next, right after I tell you about Nissan. All right, that seemed to work. This week's March Madness bracket highlight is brought to you by our friends at Nissan. Each week, we're picking one team that stands out, a team that's pushed it further than the rest, just like any of the all-new 2024 Nissan SUVs. These guys were able to take it to the next level. The Auburn Tigers can only be described as a Pathfinder. They've been thrilling to watch and have really created a lane for themselves after claiming the top spot in the SEC as they knocked off the Florida Gators in the SEC Tournament Championship game. They're set to make a run in the NCAA tournament. Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. Also, Lafayette Travel. Escape to Lafayette, Louisiana, the happiest city in America, where every visit is uniquely seasoned with unforgettable experiences. Savor world-class cuisine, including mouth-watering boudin, savory gumbo, and piping hot crawfish, seasoned to perfection. Experience lively festivals that celebrate Lafayette's one-of-a-kind heritage. Explore magnificent trails that lead you through our rich cultural history and breathtaking natural beauty. Discover the untouched purity of our cypress and Tupelo swamps, where you can pedal past nesting birds and sunbathing alligators. Immerse yourself in the vibrant rhythms of Cajun and Zydeco music that can be heard any night of the week. Whether your passion is for their rich cultural history, the bustling culinary scene, or the distinctive blend of Cajun and Zydeco music, the happiest city in America has something for everyone. Start planning your adventure at LafayetteTravel.com/season. All right, Dave Schultz, Lockdown Sunbelt, your team every day. Cajuns with a, I'd say back and forth. I guess back and forth 17, if you want to. 17-7 win over Southern. It looked like this game was going to be a run rule, and then it didn't look like it was going to be a run rule, and then it was a run rule. So this game only lasted about 3 hours. Murphy Brooks started, ran into a little trouble in the third, and he had a couple of good innings, but didn't give up any runs, 2 in the third innings. LP Langevin, who was the Friday starter the last 2 weeks, if not 3 weeks, he went 2 2/3 innings, struck out 7. He struck out 7 of the 8 batters that he faced. So the Cajuns in 5 innings gave up 1 hit, 3 walks, no runs, and 10 strikeouts. And they're winning 9-0, heading into the 6th. So they need basically a shutout in the next 2 innings, and then 1 more run, and it's a run rule. The game will last 2 hours. Everyone goes home happy. That's not what happened. Blake McGehee had issues. Gave up a run in the 6th and ends up 5 total charged to him in the 7th inning. All right. Maricott came in. I think it was his first appearance. Walked a batter. He ended up coming around to score, but he only faced the one guy. Hess, a freshman, he came in. He gave up a run on 2 base hits. It was some tough pitching for some Cajuns that probably will not be pitching on weekends. 2 of them are looking for experience. Blake McGahee just is struggling. He won't find himself pitching on the weekends anytime soon. But David Christie came in and got out of the jam. Then the Cajuns' bats came alive again. Southern scored 6 in the 7th. The Cajuns scored 7 in the 7th, and they run rule. We mentioned Dalen Pena's interesting line with 8 runs batted in. How about Clay Wargo? No official at bats. He's got 3 runs batted in. Scored a run. He walked, sacrifice fly, and they pull off the double suicide squeeze. Not sure why in a blowout win are you doing the double suicide squeeze, but that's what they did. And they were also kind of bunting late and stealing. Not sure that's the way to go in blowout victories. If you're hitting, that's one thing, but not sure I appreciate that. I do come from the professional ranks when we talk about those things. But the Cajuns' bats are coming around. Amity 2 for 4 with 3 runs scored. Josh Alexander had a triple, 2 for 4. He scored 3 runs. So we'll see. DeBarge kind of cooled off a little bit, just 1 for 5. But the Cajuns win 17-7, and I think they're getting ODU at home this weekend. So we'll see if they can clean it up. Herman is going to go on Friday. Fluno is dealing with some tenderness, so I would be shocked if he pitches Saturday. We'll see. You got Jack Martinez, who pitched well, and Chase Fluno, and maybe they just, pitch 3 or 4 innings instead of trying to go 5 or 6. We'll see. We'll see. But the main pitchers pitched well last night. A couple guys did not, but the bats are definitely better than they were as of a couple of weeks ago. All right, elsewhere in the Sun Belt on Tuesday, let's go over some of the scores that we didn't get to. Troy beats UAB 9-8. College of Charleston over Georgia Southern 8-6. Old Dominion all of a sudden playing a little bit better. My guy Mikey Glavin of Northeastern took them down, but all of a sudden Old Dominion playing well. They took a series from Georgia Southern and beat Richmond 3-2. Coastal Carolina slips to NC State 9-8. That game may be more to NC State than it does to Coastal Carolina. We could check the Warren Nolan thing here in a second. As we mentioned, the Cajuns, Texas State won. Don't know the Arkansas State score. Ole Miss beats Southern Miss 8-3. Central Arkansas over ULM 11-4. And as we mentioned, Auburn beats South Alabama 2-1. We do have 3 games tonight in the Sun Belt. Big one. How about this one? Marshall hosting West Virginia. That's pretty cool. West Virginia going to Huntington, Arkansas State, Southern Illinois, and the Cajuns hosting McNeese. Let's see where NC State is. Can I find NC State in more? No, NC State's 42. Let's see where Coastal Carolina is 22 because they lost. They went down 9 because they lost to NC State. So in that case, that game helped NC State more than it would have helped Coastal Carolina. So, all right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Sorry for the tardiness and the technical difficulties. We'll see if we can edit it together. I'm your host, Dave Schultz. Cajun spring football got underway, so we're covering that as well. And we'll do some more spring football with, hopefully we can find some coaches to hop on. All right. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm your host, Dave Schultz. And you've been watching and listening to Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day.